I think the main thing here is we learned a long time ago that there is no singular data platform. What there is a data estate, which is an ecosystem. It's part of what's driven our push towards what we call our open and connected philosophy, to ensure that we can participate in that and be the best solution for the parts where our strengths are, and yet provide the capabilities that are necessary to bridge to all these other technologies.
Welcome to Technovation. I'm your host, Peter High. My guest today is Louis Landry. Louis is the Chief Technology Officer of Teradata, a cloud analytics and data platform for artificial intelligence that earns roughly $1.75 billion in annual revenue. Louis joined Teradata roughly 11 years ago, and he ascended to his current role nearly 6 months ago. He's redefining the enterprise data platform for the artificial intelligence era through open, connected architectures and advancements in AI, to use his words. And I look forward to hearing more about what that entails through the course of this conversation. Louis, welcome to Technovation. It's great to speak with you today.
Thanks, Peter. Lovely to be here.
Wonderful. Well, take a moment, if you would, Louis, to talk a bit about the current state of Teradata's business, one that you've been in the throes of helping transform in the direction that I've implied through the introduction. But I'd love to have you take a moment and describe the business as it stands, please.
Sure. So Teradata is a company founded around providing or helping customers provide value out of their data and analytics. It's a hybrid cloud platform. We deliver trusted data and analytics capabilities in service of AI at scale. I think of us, you might think, as like the data and analytics backbone for many of the world's largest banks, airlines, healthcare providers, all that kind of stuff. And it's why I also like to think of us as a critical piece of the global economy. It's an awful lot of fun to be in this kind of position and to be able to help some of the largest companies in the world. Obviously, it's a great time to be in the data and analytics business.
Indeed, it is. Talk a bit about your role now for the past 6 months as Chief Technology Officer, if you would.
Yeah, so super exciting for me personally. I've been around for a little while, as you mentioned. I get to help shape the long-term technical vision and drive innovation strategy for the company. This is, again, focused on helping customers unlock value from their data, do everything faster, more intelligently, certainly at massive scales, which is kind of a bread and butter thing for Teradata. I lead and direct research teams focused on all sorts of future technologies. I also am in hand with our chief product officer and focusing on making sure that the engineering and product teams are driving us towards this future. And ultimately, it's about making sure that our core platform is a hybrid-friendly ecosystem for the era of AI. There's a ton of really complicated data challenges that everybody is facing right now, especially the larger the organization, the larger the footprint, the larger the impact. And my goal is helping all of them and certainly helping us service all of them.
You mentioned the R&D teams that you lead that focus on future technologies. How do you direct which technologies for them to explore and test and define applicability back to an organization like yours and your customers?
That's a really great question. I find that when you've got world-class talent like we have in these functions, it's a little more coaching than directing. I think the best ideas come from the people that are chasing this and are like their life's work is this. I claim to be one of those, but I learn a lot from the folks that I work with. So what I try to do is set a frame on where I think we all need to be, what the vision and the direction that industry is going and the part that we want to play in there. And then inside of that envelope, we spend time talking together about which projects to chase, which particular opportunities and gaps we want to pursue. And so it becomes a really collaborative effort. I'm a big believer in that.
You mentioned the world-class talent that you have on your team. Talk a bit about the team you lead a little bit more, if you would, and the makeup of that team, the talent you've recruited and keep within the organization.
For sure. So I provide technology leadership across the company, but I direct specific teams focused on innovation through advanced R&D and technology outreach. So the folks that I work with most directly, talk about great and curious minds. And I was really influenced by a book I read a number of years ago called The Innovators, to try to sort of find the balance between theory and practice. So we have a number of folks who, long tenured, and really think in terms of the theory of data, and data systems, and I mean all the fun stuff that goes inside of that around Q theory and really exciting things, as well as a group of practical, like hands-on code driving things. So the diversity in the group, we've got veterans who have been a part of pioneering database systems all the way back in like Ingress and early Postgres and things like that. We've got a couple of folks who helped invent massively parallel processing here at Teradata. I've got folks who led technology teams at NASA, but also a really vibrant mix of early to mid-career people who are just super hungry and excited to build things and learn things. So you put all that together and you get a really nice mix of capability.
Talk a bit about it, having been with the organization for nearly 11 years, as I mentioned at the outset. Describe the company you joined versus the one you're a part of now and the pathway from there to here. It must be a completely different organization now.
Yeah, talk about a cool question. So when I joined, the industry was just embarking, I would characterize as like on a pendulum swing, right, towards decentralization of data systems. Teradata wasn't really prepared for that at the time. Our strength at the time was powerful, computationally dense, centralized analytics platforms, primarily on premises, that served, massive companies solving massive data problems. So in a sense, the macro hasn't changed, but the way that we approach things as industry is quite a bit different. Our strength has historically been in efficiency and performance at scale. Cloud adoption at this point was in early stages for large enterprises, at least for data platforms. Obviously, cloud at the time was a big deal for applications and obviously continued to grow throughout. So how have we evolved is a really interesting thing. We've been through a couple of different leadership teams along this journey. It's been a lot of fun for me to sort of learn and grow through that. I've always been focused, for what it's worth, on emerging technology through all of this stuff. Even when I joined as an architect, a fairly senior architect, it was really around how we bring net new technologies in and help shape the future. Now, as far as the evolution and where we are now, we've evolved to support both centralized and decentralized approaches. We've got, still the world's most powerful, efficient, centralized data platform, and that doesn't go away. It's just augmented by a bunch of really powerful on-demand systems that focus more on discrete use cases or discrete teams or things like that. One of the differences here is in some cases, the work that you're doing, efficiency is the priority, and in others, agility is the priority. And what we find is that most of our customer base, and certainly most of the world out here, has need for both, and to be able to balance the two is incredibly powerful. We've also embraced, obviously, multi-cloud over the time of all of this. Most of our customers are pretty much they have footprints in every single possible place that they can have a footprint. And our journey sort of, I guess, mirrors that sort of oscillation between centralized and decentralized. And the game now is also making sure that all this investment, all this incredible data asset that our customers have can be parlayed into advancing AI and ensuring that we're getting maximum value today and into the future out of the investments. So it's been quite a journey, but for me, the core tenets throughout have been roughly the same for the company. It's just how we bring that to bear, given the way people want and need to consume technology.
Yeah, and I mentioned at the outset, Louis, you've described the journey that you're helping guide as dedicated to redefining the enterprise data platform for the AI era, leveraging open, connected architectures and advancements in AI.
Yeah.
Talk a bit about, and you're starting to mention that as you describe the evolution of the firm across your 11 years. Talk more squarely about the specifics of what that entails, if you would.
Sure. So enterprise data platforms in the AI era, they have to express context to AI systems. It's not just about reporting and those sorts of things. And this requires an integrated, harmonized view of an enterprise's data. Like you need to be able to access and recall facts across the entire sort of spectrum of what's there. You also need the ability to bring structured and unstructured data together in a way that sort of augments the facts of what we've historically managed with a lot of the new types of data sources and things that exist. You bring that all together, which is a historical strength of Teradata, and exposing that in a way that's meaningful to AI systems is really what it's all about. Now, our ability to perform what I think we've characterized for a long time as mixed workloads is particularly powerful here. As we define mixed workloads, Teradata at least, it means handling both like millions of quick lookups on particular things, as well as large sort of analytical queries that are driving analysis and trends and historical context into answers. All of that has to happen at the same time. AI system has to be responsive no matter the size and the scale of its data. Providing context into those things requires that you do everything fast that you can. You make available all of the data that is required so that we can answer questions and evolve processes and all that kind of fun stuff. Now, an interesting example as I was coming up with, so when I was a customer, because I was a customer of Teradata before I joined, we had a system that is a single database system, if you can imagine, tens of petabytes managed under this single system. And we had a table that had 1 trillion records in it. And we were still able to get answers out of that sub-second in milliseconds, which is incredible. And if you think about customer behavior across an enterprise for like these large companies, there's a lot of touch points. And you don't always have the ability to segment that stuff out, and the cost of breaking it down into a bunch of discrete systems and orchestrating and managing it can be incredibly high. So being able to get at information really, really quickly, be able to sort of at the same time you're doing that, also run the big trawling queries is incredibly powerful. An interesting example, by the way, of this kind of thing, this kind of like performance and efficiency, recently is we worked with a financial institution in Brazil, named Credit. And just by taking a workload that they built on another system from a competitor's platform, they saw a 25x speed up just by taking that same thing and running it on our platform. Now, that translates into money saved, sure. But I think the real opportunity longer range is to be able to react more quickly to changes in the underlying data and really bring the speed and evolution of the answers coming out of that to AI systems. Because frankly, the pace that AI agents are going to work is going to solve problems much faster on much tighter feedback loops than anything that humans are going to do. So the faster that we can provide them context and answers, the faster that they're going to build better outcomes for all of us. All of that comes down to ensuring that enterprise context, facts, forecasts, unstructured content is all findable and consumable by AI agents. So pretty long-winded, but this is why the research that we're doing around things like integrating vector similarity search and storage and everything into our platforms, being able to do all of this stuff in every kind of environment, be it sort of public cloud or on premises and all that kind of stuff. It provides optionality and ensures that all this data can be served effectively in the way that is necessary for our customers.
Super interesting, Louis. I wanted to also ask, how do you think about how Teradata fits into the broader data landscape? For a large, massive enterprise, they have a number of partners, strategic partners that they would engage with in order to help them sort, synthesize, help them grapple with the data that they have. How do you think about the way in which you operate as an ecosystem partner for the companies that you serve?
Yeah, it's a really great question as well. I think the main thing here is we learned a long time ago that there is no singular data platform. What there is a data estate, which is an ecosystem in our customer base. It's part of what's driven our push towards our what we call our open and connected philosophy, to ensure that we can participate in that and be the best solution for the parts where our strengths are, and yet provide the capabilities that are necessary to bridge to all these other technologies. Um, this comes down to how we work with partners, and it also comes down to how we show up in working with the technologists in our customer base, right? So we spend a lot of time focused on the actual problems that people face at scale, and then figure out how we can bring the core tech that we have um, to bear solving some of those problems. What that means is practically we're in learning mode almost all the time when we're speaking with customers and partners. Uh, we approach all of that stuff with shared curiosity, certainly with mutual respect, and try really hard to make sure where the primary tenets of our value proposition are important, we're attacking as strongly as we can and making sure that uh, the large scale problems as well as the large complexity problems, which I think is underrepresented in how we talk about this sometimes, are really the focus of our energy. Almost anyone can solve the small stuff. Almost anyone in the space can attack the small, simple, and easy stuff, and we certainly do. But we think our differentiation is at the high end of complexity and the high end of scale.
Yeah, it's interesting points you raised, Louis. I wanted to also ask you, to what extent does Teradata use its own technology? How do you think about the company as customer zero of what you're developing?
Oh, that's yes. So one of my best friends in the company runs our internal Teradata systems, and we spend a lot of time innovating together, talking about like what kind of problems that they're facing, what kind of challenges we can bring to bear, and we test almost all. I'd probably be best saying all, but like almost all of the things that we research on the internal systems. We definitely drink our own champagne, and we are customer zero for pretty much everything that we build. A lot of that stuff actually we choose not to productize. There's a lot of things that we build where we think learning through customer zero sometimes it's a little more bespoke than something that we could generalize. And in that case, what we tend to do is spend time with the consulting group, inform them, teach them about that. So if they run into things that are similar, they've got a backbone of information that how we solved it in the first place. But it's a solid point. We are not nearly as big as a lot of our customers, but we stretch the hell out of the system, and we certainly do everything we can to find its limits.
Yeah, very interesting. I also wanted to ask you, a lot of Teradata's clients are peers of yours as people who run technology for their organizations. And I wonder, to what extent do you engage with your peer group in peer-to-peer conversations, different than how your salespeople would do so, for example? How does that happen?
It happens as often as it can. I love chatting with technologists. I love learning constantly from the challenges and opportunities that they're all facing. Look, I think that the amount of time that I've spent in the role at this point, I'm just kind of ramping up at the breadth of all that. But as we spend time with customers in our executive briefing center, as we spend time at conferences and things like that, I'm constantly looking to learn from and collect advisors from across the spectrum. It kind of comes back to what we were talking about before, like. We're here to help people generate value from data, right? In the most efficient and effective way possible. And when engaging with these folks, it's really focused on learning, focused on understanding, and that mutual respect and shared curiosity. Like I find I learn almost constantly when I'm talking with CTOs, CIOs, any executive from the competitive landscape as well as our customer base. So building those relationships through authentic conversation around the problems we all face is a lot of fun, and I find that almost all of them are very collaborative and engaging.
Very interesting. I wanted to ask you also, obviously, with the consequential R&D lens of your job, the great team that you have around you, as you think about trends on the rise, what are some that particularly excite you as you look to the future, some of the possibilities that are starting to become clear as that group and you do the work that you do?
Yeah. I honestly think I'd have to resign if I didn't say agentic AI was the very first one on the list. It seems to be the zeitgeist topic that everybody is focused on. Uh, so I'll just give you a sense of why that's super exciting for me. There's a whole bunch of things that are really interesting inside of it, and you can pay a lot of attention to all of the magic that it will perform or all the whatever. For me as a technologist, the thing that's most exciting, interestingly enough, is this integration of deterministic software, the stuff that we've written and have invested in for ages, the things that actuate business, the things that run all of the systems and processes that we have with non-deterministic LLMs and generative AI. When you put that stuff together, I think it can combine the creativity and adaptability of LLMs and AI with the precision and impact of all this investment we've made in regular deterministic software and services. And I think that's where things get really, really interesting. It will allow us to set objectives and have AI systems take initiative, reason through ambiguity, experiment with different things. Obviously, you got to put guardrails on all this stuff. So that's going to be a fun challenge to make real. And ultimately, I think it will allow us to collaborate with software in a very different way. Um, Much more sophisticated interactions, and it'll open up that interaction and that collaboration to an entirely new set of people, which is incredibly exciting. Um, the evolution from like passive tools, software as passive tools to like true teammates and augmented collaborators, I think is a really exciting thing. And ultimately is going to change how knowledge work happens. I think it's already happening. I was chatting to an executive not too long ago who was saying like, somewhere around like 90% of the data that is driving all of these agents and things that we're doing today isn't enterprise data. It's almost all, stuff that you've got laying around and stuff, but it's not the core data that models the processes and people and products and environments of an enterprise yet. So huge opportunity as we bring all that stuff together. The second thing for me is this shift from it'd be like model-centric thinking to data-centric thinking in AI. Um, the Look, I take nothing away from everyone that's working on all these incredibly cool algorithms and sort of model technology. It's amazing and it's continuing to be amazing. But increasingly, people are recognizing that the data quality and granularity and connectedness or harmonization is where you're going to really unlock value here, right? The models themselves are trained on general information and all sorts of little things that we can fine tune on, but like you're not going to go train a model on your entire data estate. It doesn't make sense. It moves too fast. All the really good reasons why that's not going to happen. And so the ensuring that your data and the organization of that and the metadata surrounding and all that stuff is well structured, well governed, and accessible and findable and all that kind of stuff is an incredibly powerful, I think, shift and really, really great in validating Teradata's long-held belief that data is the foundation of intelligence. Really exciting for us to help bridge that sort of integration between AI systems and enterprise data. Third one that I've been chatting to a number of folks about is perhaps a little speculative, but I think we're going to start to see. So the last decade, I might suggest, had a lot of interest and energy around data sharing, right? Commercializing data sharing and those sorts of things. And it isn't that I'm suggesting that that goes away, but I think given where we are and given the evolution and all this tech, model sharing is going to be an interesting sort of way to shift from that. So, what do I mean by that? So, privacy, sovereignty, all that kind of stuff is paramount. And also, data is increasingly seen as a unique identifier of a company. I was chatting with a company last week who was saying that, like our people are our number one asset by far, but number two is data. And the reason is everybody in our space is using similar SaaS technology. Everybody is using similar algorithms. Everybody is using similar sort of piece parts of how we deliver value. Um, but the data is ours. And the way we structure it and organize it and leverage it is uniquely ours. So all of that to say that exchanging intelligence, exchanging the value of data without actually sharing the physical data is something that's really, really interesting. And so we can build models of or representations of our data assets and then commercialize those to partners, et cetera, without actually exposing it. And it gives you some interesting opportunities to tweak things, to ensure the privacy and sovereignty, all of that, but also get the most value out of it. So I'm actually really interested and excited about that opportunity going forward as well.
Yeah, fascinating. Thank you for that overview. Clearly from earlier in the conversation, you are a reader. You mentioned how Walter Isaacson's book, The Innovators, has been an inspiration to the way in which you think about organizing your team and the kinds of skills you bring to it. Anything else you've more recently read or watched or listened to, as the case may be, that you'd recommend to others?
Good question. So the most recent thing that I think strikes me, and by the way, I'm not all the way done with it. I've still got a little bit left to go, but really been fascinating for me is A Thousand Brains by Jeff Hawkins. It's how do I summarize? It presents a fascinating theory of intelligence and how the brain creates models of the world, many models, relevant to how, and this is relevant to how we think about building AI systems, especially the nature of mixture of experts models, right? The notion here is that we can sort of process many parallel models rather than some singular hierarchical. It's a different way of thinking about how we think. I think it gives us a sense of how to use multiple references and multiple perspectives, which, the best analytics platforms today tend to provide multiple different sort of perspectives on a given answer. The best way to approach those sorts of things means there's not one sort of version of the truth. It's lots of different things together that give you the context to actually answer questions. Simulation is a big thing that my team and I have been talking about for a little while, and shifting from just some reporting or like single question, single answer to giving a more rounded view of an environment and of a situation. So I think this is going to be really, really instructive, particularly as I think increasingly we see, because of AI, neuroscience and cognitive science bridging with the standard sort of software and technology space to get the most out of these incredible things that we've built in generative AI. The most recent conversations I've had with a couple of university professors is around how they're thinking in terms of bringing the software practice and like cognitive sciences together in a way to really construct the best outcomes out of this technology.
Fascinating aspect of the advances related to artificial intelligence and the necessity to bring people together with a variety of different disciplines. And that intersection is so often where that value is. Great recommendation. Thank you for that, Louis. And thank you for more broadly for a phenomenal conversation. Fascinating to hear more about your tenure with the company, your responsibilities as Chief Technology Officer, the transformation you are leading, and the remarkable advances that you're ushering in leveraging technology. Thank you so much for taking time with me today.
Lovely. It was great to be here.